Welcome to Module 2 of the new member class. My name is Kelly McCowan. In this module, I will share a brief history of Unitarian Universalism, when, where, and how it started. I will also share some local history because I think knowing a little history is important. It helps us shape our identity as UUs and connects us with one another. It helps us find meaning in our liberal religious community. It helps us understand that although we have different perspectives, different personalities, and different paths, we have shared history and values. So let's begin. In 1531, Michael Servetus published On Errors of the Trinity, and then he is burned at the stake in 1553 by John Calvin in Geneva. In 1568, King John Sigismund of Transylvania issued the earliest edict of religious tolerance known. He was influenced by Francis David, who died in prison, condemned as a heretic in 1579. In 1741, George de Benneville emigrated to Pennsylvania and founded American Universalism. In 1770, John Murray emigrated to the United States, and he started the first Universalist church in Massachusetts by 1779. In 1787, King's Chapel in Boston ordained James Freeman, becoming Anglican in worship, Congregational in polity, and Unitarian in theology. In 1794, Joseph Priestley emigrated to Pennsylvania and worked to start the first Unitarian church in Philadelphia in 1796. Unitarian Universalism is a religion which encourages each individual to develop a personal faith. It draws from many different religions in the belief that no one religion has all the answers, and that most have something to teach us. From Christianity, we take the teachings of Christ. From Buddhism, we take the power of meditation. From Native American and other earth-centered traditions, we take respect for the earth and reverence for natural cycles. Unitarian Universalism is a way of being religious rather than embracing a specific religious doctrine. And I will provide some really helpful resources at the end of this lesson if you want to learn more. And here's a quote by the Dalai Lama. If anything in Buddhist practice is of immediate benefit for health or well-being, it should be taken out of the religious context, tested by science to verify its benefits, and then shared as widely as possible so everyone, Buddhist or not, can benefit. So 80 years after Universalism came to the United States, Minnesotans heard their first Universalist sermon. First Universalist Church of Minneapolis is a church founded by people who brought their brand of liberal Christianity to the frontier town that was Minneapolis in 1859. Many of the early leaders of the city were members of this congregation. Names like Washburn, Pillsbury, Lowry, Crosby, Loring, King, and Morrison. They were not only founders of the Minneapolis flour and lumber industries, they helped found many of Minneapolis's institutions, from Lakewood Cemetery to the parks and library system, the city's early transportation system, the Washburn Orphan Home, Unity House, the Minneapolis Institute of Art, and General Mills. They found inspiration in the sermons of the Reverend Keyes, Reverend Tuttle, and Reverend Shutter as they fueled the progressive ground building programs that put Minneapolis on the map. And now a little local history of Dakota UU Church. From 1988 to 2003, we rented our church space in various locations, including an office building, a child care center, and a senior center. We rented a basement of the building for a few years where we had the space 24/7 and quickly realized the benefits of not having to unpack, set up, pack up again each Sunday. So we worked and worked to buy a building and reach that goal in 2003. The building we bought had formerly been a retail space, so we had quite a bit of remodeling to do, not to mention working with the city of Burnsville to have it rezoned. We thought of it as our starter church and assumed we would grow too large for the space and have to find a larger building. Sadly, we didn't grow, and after about 12 years decided we should try to sell it. At that same time, one of our founding members connected us with Sage Prairie, a startup drug rehab program that needed space during the week. We agreed to share our building with them, rent-free, until they got off the ground. After 2 years, they had grown so much that instead of paying rent, they bought the building and allowed us to stay rent-free for 5 years. It was during that time that the COVID pandemic hit, and we were extremely grateful we didn't have the expense and responsibility of a building. In December 2021, we moved out of the building, put our belongings in storage, and continued to meet online until summer of 2022, when we began renting space at the Aslan Institute in Eagan. Being lay-led for more than 15 years taught us that we could stand on our many feet and still thrive. During our work with various ministers, we had learned about what we wanted and what we didn't want from a minister, and what work we were willing and able to do ourselves. We enjoyed our new freedom, and with it our new responsibilities, but most of us realized that a paid professional leadership is also very valuable. We contracted with Brianna Millum to be a consulting minister in 2017, and she continued through 2020 when she became too ill to continue. We had met Stephanie Voss, formerly a Lutheran minister, in the summer of 2019, and she became a consulting minister for us that fall, a few months before the pandemic began, and continued with us online while becoming an ordained UU minister and a chiropractor. When she moved to Duluth to start her chiropractic office, Barbara May became our consulting minister, but Stephanie continued to preach regularly for another year. Shortly after that, Barbara found her dream job that required her to travel around the country throughout the year. She suggested we contact Brian Demerit, and he started working with Dakota UU Church in April of 2023. And here we are. I hope you've enjoyed this quick little overview of our history, and as I said, I will have some additional resources for you in the next slide.